Gatekeeping is about ensuring no one can rise to your level. Hating is about downplaying anyone that isn't you, both facilitating people's downfalls and obstructing anyone's rise to success. Scamming is about working smarter, not harder. Here's a $1 million question. What is the easiest way to get $1 million? Working a job and saving your earnings, playing the lottery, trading stocks, crypto, etc., being a pioneer in a field and getting global recognition? If you picked any of these options, you should be ashamed of yourself. The easiest way of getting $1 million is finding someone who has $1 million and then proceeding to take it from them.
The sentencing of Bernie Madoff, the mastermind behind the biggest Ponzi scheme in history, getting 150 years behind bars.
Please don't accuse us of scamming. That's not true. We didn't take a penny from anyone.
Ma'am, no! Why did you redeem it?
You are not fucking wrong! Fuck!
A few years ago, I got one of those spam emails. It managed to get through my spam filter, I'm not quite sure how. It went like this. It said, hello, James Veach. I have an interesting business proposal I want to share with you, Solomon. Now, my hand was kind of hovering on the delete button. Or I could do what I think we've all always wanted to do. And I said, Solomon, your email intrigues me.
When I think about scamming, there's two questions which immediately come to mind. Who are the greatest scammers and what is the greatest scam? In previous videos I have ranked various scamming methods, but those will mainly focus on the monetary side of things, which sure makes up majority of scams, but that's not all scams are about. But what even is a scam? Scientifically, scamming is the fusion of lying and stealing. It's the last element in a periodic table. Historically, scamming is the ultimate strategy one can use to gain a surefire victory. From infiltration to espionage, the only thing that matches its potency is a slot machine. Artistically, scamming is the evolution of poetry. Some even say that slam poetry was heavily inspired by scamming. Financially, scamming is the opposite of a 9-to-5. In fact, you could say that the relationship between scamming and a 9-to-5 job is similar to yin and yang. Morally, scamming is the ultimate teacher. To practice scamming is to enlighten the ignorant and the gullible, and that is a true noble act. Philosophically, well, it's simply monetary deception. Before you scam, you must understand that to scam is to choose the path of pure efficiency and moral disregardment. It's the equivalent of faking an injury and calling the ambulance just so you won't have to pay for public transport, waste your own gas, or wait in traffic. This is the type of person you are. So how does one begin to scam? Well, it ultimately depends on one thing. What is it you want? $100? $10,000? $1 million? $1 billion? You want love? You want revenge? Do you have an insatiable greed? Do you want the baddest? The prettiest? Do you want a dynasty? Generational wealth? To be a legend? To be remembered? And who are you willing to slime to get there? Bernie Madoff was willing to siphon the whole stock market for his desires. What he wanted exactly we don't clearly know. We know he wanted wealth, just not the amount. But we do know how much he got. $65 billion. The type of net worth that would take a Fortune 500 company decades to amount to. Or you could just continuously beg the government for aid and funding, but don't worry, we'll get to that later. Unlike many of the Ponzi scheme founders of today, Bernie Madoff actually had a reason for people to trust him. He innovated stock trading by going the electronic route instead of the prehistoric human labor route, which everyone was using back then. This immediately made his firm stand out from the competition. Couple this with the fact that a decade later he became a chairman of NASDAQ, safe to say that he's clearly made a name for himself. When a finance fraud investigator began looking at the numbers of Bernie's hedge fund, it was quickly discovered that many things simply didn't add up. A consistent profit regardless of whether the market was up or down, between 1 to 2% of consistent monthly profit return for investors, and strangely enough, not a single traceable transaction made by his firm on a stock exchange, which raises the question, how was his company making money? And although the SEC also began investigating him, they never really got anywhere with it, most likely due to his ties with the SEC themselves and also Wall Street. So how did he end up in handcuffs? The Great Recession. Trillions wiped from the stock market. The 2008 market crash essentially made it impossible for Bernie to get money to pay all of his investors, since his business didn't actually make profit from doing anything besides surplusing off the people who he promises to give an ROI. He was cooked. Charcoal grilled, the jig was up. Apparently he was also scamming some Colombians and Russians, and he was very paranoid about it. Bernie eventually told his sons about the Ponzi scheme, and his sons got him arrested a week later. When on house arrest, him and his wife tried to how do I say this? Commit the sue, but they failed. I called that a Christmas miracle. He later got charged in court, he immediately admitted the guilt, and he received a sentence of 150 years. He should have just ran off on a plug. That's exactly what the next Ponzi scheme master did. Ruja Ignatova, aka the Crypto Queen. I've already covered her before, so I won't spend too much time here, but this woman has indeed influenced and pioneered a new age of Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes using crypto as the playground. OneCoin was a centralized cryptocurrency. If you don't know what that means, then let me give you a quick rundown. Certain cryptos can be more centralized or decentralized than others. The more centralized a currency is, the more it can be disrupted or manipulated. Nodes are essentially independent entities which wield a lot of stake on a currency, typically more than a third of the whole value. So if free people own more than a third of a currency, then it can be easy for them to join forces and decide the fate and direction of a currency's value. But if it's 100 people, then it would be harder to convince that many people to take action. Make sense? So going back to OneCoin, a centralized cryptocurrency heavily advertises the great financial opportunity and the Bitcoin killer, promising to make anyone who invests rich, offering people who join the company with opportunities to make more money if they simply invite more people. And not only that, also incentivizing them with ranks. Yes, that's right, we're playing Call of Duty now. You can prestige, brother. Sapphire, Ruby, Emerald, Diamond, Blue Diamond, Black Diamond, Crown Diamond. Now this is what I call a jubilee. And the higher the rank, the higher the salary you get. Yes, that's right, you get a salary. And whenever you hit a rank, you get a reward. New car, new watch, paid trip, the sky is the limit. Oh, did I mention that these guys offered financial advice too? These guys damn near pioneered all the gurus that you see today selling courses. Man, oh man, so many flashy events. Look at them dancing. Just look at them. Look how happy they are. Look how happy she is. So much hope in that room. They all just wanted to be rich. Question, how are you meant to spend the money you've made if you can't withdraw it? Oh man, it was all a scam. Multi-level marketing, a pyramid scheme, and a Ponzi scheme. It was like the ultimate fusion dance, you know? $4 billion. A few funds were recovered by China, but it didn't even amount to 10% of the total of which was siphoned. By the time the FBI finally signed a warrant for Dr. Ruja's arrest, she already took the money and ran with it. Let me tell you something, you don't make it on the FBI's most wanted list without being the best at what you do. Right now, she is either dead or still on a run. People have speculated that she may have altered her appearance with plastic surgery, but who knows? One thing that you may have noticed about these scams is that with a little bit of knowledge, they're quite avoidable, right? Of course, I am judging them in hindsight, and clearly they had a high degree of deception to fool this many people, but still, they're quite avoidable. What truly makes a scam better is ultimately down to emotions. You've probably heard of the saying, love is blinding. Well, it's not just love. Many emotions can be blinding or give us tunnel vision. It's a double-edged sword, and it happens for a reason. The urge to reproduce is literally enough for a male bee to give up its life to further its bloodline, literally dying to goon. To better one's own conditions, they're sometimes so desperate that they're willing to take a risky path in a pursuit of happiness. If you're a decent scammer, you should already be aware of this. If not, then listen up. Emotions can be exploited. Best way to scam someone? Get them emotionally invested. And there's no better example of this than rage baiting. More accurately, the blue checkmark rage baiters. If you haven't been made aware yet, rage baiting is all the rage nowadays. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm pretty sure trolling and rage baiting is the same thing. Not sure why they created a new word for it. Maybe it's because trolling was being substituted for the word joking too often, but nevertheless, this is essentially about getting people riled up and then monetizing their anger. Controversy sells, and the algorithm loves nothing more than user retention. Views, likes, comments, shares. The truth doesn't matter. In fact, lying, disinformation, and misinformation is heavily advised, since you get more user interactions from people trying to correct your incorrect framing of facts. There's no better playground for this than Twitter. They got this down to a T. Now that the TOS is barely enforced, reality can be whatever you want. You don't believe me? That's fine. Let me show you a couple of examples. Dudes be walking around with headphones listening to porn just to have a dick print. Nonsense. What is she talking about? Who does this? Those are probably questions you're asking yourself right now, but remember, it doesn't matter. Look at the engagement. Look at the views. 11.8 million people saw this tweet. Look at the comments. Look at the likes. That's what this is about. She even got quote retweeted, which brings extra attention to the original tweet. Now, this guy could have finessed some engagement for himself, but unlike her, he's not verified, which means he's making no money off of this. Fucking amateur. Now, I do want to give you guys a piece of advice. A key performance indicator, if you will. However many likes you got, your comments should make up 5% of that value. That's usually a good indicator. Anyway, Sydney Sweeney reportedly called off wedding because she's not ready to settle down. I don't know exactly when Sydney said these comments. I guarantee you it wasn't on a post of her first strap-in. What Daily Lad has done here, however, is a true masterclass of engagement baiting by creating an incel honeypot. Man, who knew that the mentally deranged could be used for a money glitch? Oh, I did. which is why I'm making this video. And here's an example of when your incel honeypot doesn't go the way you expect it to go. But still, look at the engagement, look at the views, look at the likes, look at the comments. He got exactly what he wanted. The makeup industry is destroying our young women. Simple and effective. Funny thing about this tweet right here, he stole it. Someone had already tweeted this months ago. You don't always have to be creative. Sometimes stealing is enough. And sometimes you can just multiply the engagement baiting by creating a whole new narrative. And just like that, her post has more replies than his. In this next post, we have some incel encouragement. Can never go wrong with that. Funniest thing about this tweet is how honest and transparent he is in the comments. He's literally telling you how much profit he makes from doing this bullshit. Loving new AI. To be straight up honest, I think people who spend their time learning art and creating art should just quit. AI is the future and it's phenomenal. Not only was this free, but no complaints at all. Beautifully done, beautifully executed. The perfect rage bait. Your vibe is performative. You know, sometimes some good old hating will get the job done. It doesn't have to be deep all the time. Are you guys seeing the vision now? Are you guys seeing what I'm talking about? I haven't even shown you guys any political content. That's what the goal is. The absolute cesspool of engagement farms and rage baiting which occurs on any topic surrounding geopolitics is enough to accumulate generational wealth. And remember what I said before, the truth doesn't matter. And I tell you what, this platform certainly doesn't incentivize people to tell the truth either. Which brings me to the forbidden method. What is the forbidden method, you ask? Well, if you're a fan of anything you've seen so far, then I'd like to bring you up to speed on what the cool kids are doing nowadays. The future is now, and old methods are ancient. The same way in how war is fought has changed is the same way in which scamming has also changed. I don't know if you guys have been made aware, but ever since Elon bought Twitter, many things have started happening. A lot of weird and mysterious changes. That was until he started being super overt about his political stances. The mystery was out of the room and everything became clear as day to anyone who can at least look past the smoke and mirrors. The conversation around bots has always been prevalent, but currently it's more real than it ever has been. I don't consider myself to be conspiratorial. I tend to lean more on the side of if there isn't enough evidence for it, it's just a theory. But the dead internet theory in my eyes is becoming more credible as time continues.
Here is an account. This guy here, this is not a real person, right? This is not a real human being. This picture, this is not real. This is not a real person. This is not a real person. But when you scroll through his account, like you will find him like, and other people, they talk to each other. Oh, this account, we went through this one. This account, this guy, this is not a real account, okay? This guy tweets at me. Oh, look, and you can see on the pictures, look, they do the thing where they'll post the same picture like over and over again. Oh, he talks to Jeffrey again. Oh wait, are all of his replies to Jeffrey? They might all be, all of his replies might be to Jeffrey. Oh, this A. O'Connell guy or whatever? Holy banger, Jeff. Thank you, Albert. By far and away, my biggest tweet. This Trump 2004. What the fuck does that even mean? This isn't a real account. This is not a real person, okay? I haven't been to the liberal dentist since 9/11. That was the wake-up call I needed. Is this a real account? Bro, okay, no, I spent hours last night. Going through these fucking accounts, okay? I don't think any of these are real. I don't think any of these people are real, okay? No better way to start off the day, okay? This is a white foot. This is not real. And you can find, this was posted in 2024, okay, on Twitter, okay? This came from Reddit. This is a Reddit comment from 2 years ago, all right? This guy, this is not a real person, all right? He's not real. This is not a real person.
One of the perks of the internet has always been the choice to remain anonymous. But now many people are starting to ask themselves how much of the social media presence is occupied by humans? How much ground has been seized by automation? Is the algorithm truly a product of human interest, or has it been curated and carefully selected for ulterior motives? How much of this is true human sentiment, and how much of this is an artificial emulation to overrepresent a narrative? The blurring of reality has turned Twitter into what it is right now. I'm not sure how much of the platform is like this, but that in itself is already a symptom. The not knowing is already enough. You gotta ask yourself, how many people are being fed a reality which isn't true? Are the people you're interacting with even real? Are the narratives the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And where will this lead our society? To a better place? To our demise? These are all very important questions, but not for you, not if you're a scammer. You see, in the midst of chaos, there is always opportunity. And if you have any intuition, you should already know where I'm going. A wise man once said that the best time to sell guns is during a war. The second best time is right now. Actually, maybe the quote was backwards, but who gives a fuck? It's time for you to automate your scamming. Have the bots do the heavy lifting for you. All you have to do is follow the current formula. Have a verified account, make tweets about controversial topics, politics, and pop culture. Target people's emotions and ask yourself, what topics will people never come to terms with, and exploit it. I know some of you may think that this is banned because you saw that Elon said that he was cutting down on it and banning people, but all you really have to do is go on Twitter right now and see for yourself. Is it banned? Is there no more engagement baiting? Is there no more rage baiting? Hell no. So go ahead and be as inflammatory as possible. Trust me, you will not get banned. This new Twitter doesn't really care about moderating, and in the end, you'll have what I like to call passive income. But honestly, it's really crazy what the acceleration of technology has done to us. You can't even tell what's real anymore. I don't think there's anything wrong with feeling emotions about controversial topics, but I think it's important to be aware that those are the things which the algorithm looks for. Things that will grab your attention, and those just so happen to be things that will also increase the likelihood of you interacting with the post. I don't think I would ever have to mute as many accounts as I have or use the not interested button, but these apps have honestly become flooded with virtual diarrhea, actual brain rot. But honestly, the people who get baited the most are the older generations. I doubt they can even decipher what's AI and what's not at this point, let alone whether a comment section is a reflection of real human emotion or just an attempt at emulating a series of replies which will create the most chaos. Not too long ago, I even saw AI videos at the top of YouTube trending like, "What is happening?" I was watching a video about this and there was a quote that truly stood out to me. It's not that they're all bots, it's that the interactions have become indistinguishable from the bots. And I think it truly just encapsulates our current situation. Oh man. Are we cooked? Maybe we are. But not for you, not if you're a scammer. You see, a wise man once said that in the midst of chaos,